Arun was not a soldier. He was not a captain, or a hero, or even someone who wanted to stand in the center of history. He was just an engineer on a human exploration ship called Starlight. His duty was simple: fix broken things, keep the ship alive, and make sure the crew could travel through deep space without fear of systems shutting down. That night, the ship had docked near an alien station for trade. The crew needed supplies: food, minerals, and rare crystals for the engines. Arun was busy repairing a damaged power converter on the lower deck. It was late, and most of the crew were resting. His eyes were heavy, and his mind was slow after a long shift. He had been told to bring a small device to the storage bay, where goods from the alien station were waiting. He carried the device under his arm and walked toward the teleport pad. Humans had built this pad to make work faster. Instead of walking through long passages, they could just step on the circle of light and appear in another part of the ship. Arun had used it hundreds of times. He never thought anything could go wrong. But that night, his hands were greasy from fixing wires, and his eyes were half closed. He typed the wrong code into the pad's control screen. Instead of the storage bay, he pressed a number that did not belong to any human deck. He didn't notice. He only muttered to himself, "Just 5 more minutes, then I sleep." The pad glowed, and light wrapped around his body. His stomach twisted, and he felt weightless for a moment. When his eyes opened, he knew something was wrong. The air was different. It smelled like flowers and smoke, mixed together. The floor was not smooth metal but shining crystal that gave off a soft glow. The walls curved like waves, alive with veins of blue light that moved as if they were breathing. This was not the storage bay. This was not even part of his ship. Arun dropped the device in shock. His heart raced as he turned in circles, looking at the strange chamber. It was large and filled with objects he could not understand. Floating crystals moved gently above his head, like stars trapped inside glass. Curtains of silver fabric hung from the ceiling, and living vines climbed the walls, glowing faintly. "This is impossible," he whispered. He stepped back, but his boot knocked against something soft. A bed. Not a human bed, but a great structure shaped like a flower, its petals spread open, glowing from inside. It was large enough for 3 people to lie upon, and it pulsed gently, as if alive. Arun froze, realization crashing down on him. He was not just in an alien room. He was in a private chamber. A bedroom. Arun's chest tightened. He knew enough about alien customs to understand the danger. For a human to enter such a sacred place without permission was considered a crime by many species. He could be seen as an intruder, even a spy. If anyone discovered him here, punishment would be severe. He rushed to the pad controls to leave, but there were no controls. The teleport circle was gone. He was trapped. Panic surged through him. He searched for a door, but the walls were smooth, covered with glowing patterns that shifted like water. He had no idea how to open anything. He pressed his hands against the wall, but it did not move. Then he heard it. A sound. The soft hum of the chamber changed. The floating crystals brightened. Arun's heart pounded louder than the quiet steps that entered the room. The air grew heavier. From behind the silver curtains, a tall figure stepped forward. Her presence filled the room like a storm. She was unlike anything Arun had ever seen. Her form was humanoid, but taller, graceful, and powerful. Her skin shimmered like polished silver, and her eyes glowed faintly, filled with wisdom and something far older than humanity. Her long robes moved as if made from liquid light. Arun's throat went dry. His mind screamed the truth. This was no ordinary alien. This was the alien queen. His body stiffened in fear. He thought of running, but there was nowhere to run. His breath came quick, and he wished he could disappear. The queen stopped in front of the glowing bed, her gaze moving across the room. Then her eyes fell on Arun. For a long moment, silence ruled the chamber. Arun expected anger, maybe a shout, or a command for guards to seize him. But none came. The queen tilted her head, her eyes narrowing with curiosity instead of rage. Her voice was calm, deep, and strange, yet clear enough for him to understand. "You are not of my people," she said slowly. "How did a human come into my chamber?" Arun opened his mouth, but no words came out. His hands shook. He wanted to explain, to say it was an accident, that he meant no harm. But the words tangled on his tongue. The queen stepped closer, her presence overwhelming, yet not cruel. She studied him the way a scholar might study a puzzle. Arun swallowed hard and finally forced the truth out. I made a mistake," he whispered. "I don't know how I came here. I didn't mean to intrude." The queen's eyes glowed brighter for a moment, and then she did something that shocked Arun even more. She smiled. The queen's smile was not like the smile of a human. It was soft but mysterious, as if she knew something he did not. Arun's knees felt weak. He had expected fury, guards rushing in, or even execution. Instead, the queen stood before him with calm curiosity. "You say it was a mistake," she said slowly, her voice echoing in the chamber. "Do you understand where you stand?" Arun shook his head quickly. "No, Your Majesty. I don't understand. One moment I was on my ship, and then, this." He gestured at the glowing room, at the floating crystals and the living vines that pulsed faintly with light. The queen tilted her head slightly, studying him as if he were a strange animal. "You are human. I have heard of your kind. Explorers. Builders. Wanderers in the stars." Her words made Arun pause. She spoke as though humans were known but distant, like a rumor carried across galaxies. "Yes, I am human," Arun said nervously. His voice cracked, and he quickly added, "But I did not mean to disturb you. If you allow, I will leave right away." The queen's eyes narrowed, and the air seemed heavier. Arun's heart raced again, but instead of calling guards or punishing him, she asked a question. "How did you break through my royal security?" Arun blinked. "I didn't break anything. I pressed the wrong code on the teleport pad. That's all. It was an accident." The queen's lips curved again, this time with quiet amusement. "An accident," she repeated. "Human clumsiness brings you into the most sacred place of my palace." Her tone was neither angry nor kind. It was curious, almost playful. Arun felt a strange mix of fear and relief. He nodded quickly. "Yes. I swear, I mean no harm. If you tell me how to leave, I will go and never return." The queen walked slowly around him, her silver robes flowing like water. Arun dared not move. She was taller than him, her presence heavy with power. Yet her steps were silent, and her gaze sharp as if she could see into his very thoughts. "No harm," she murmured. "Strange. My chamber does not allow intruders. Yet here you are." She raised her hand, and one of the floating crystals drifted closer. It glowed brighter, and Arun felt warmth on his skin, like sunlight. The queen studied the crystal, then him. "The palace accepts you," she said softly. Arun frowned. "Accepts me? What do you mean?" The queen did not answer directly. Instead, she moved closer to the glowing bed. She touched its petals, and they pulsed gently, alive and warm. "This chamber is not only mine," she explained. "It is a living extension of the palace itself. It responds to those who belong." Her silver eyes turned back to him. "And yet it does not reject you. Why?" Arun had no answer. He shook his head, confused. "I don't know. I don't even know how I got here." For a moment, silence filled the room again. Arun expected her to grow impatient, but instead, the queen sat gracefully on the edge of the glowing bed. Her presence was still commanding, yet there was no threat in her voice when she spoke next. "Tell me, human. What is your name?" "Arun," he said, his voice steadier now. "Arun," she repeated, tasting the sound of it. "A simple name. Do you know whose room you have entered?" Arun swallowed hard. "Yes. I think I do. You are the queen." The queen's eyes glowed brighter. "Correct. I am Serena, queen of the Crystal Dominion. Every wall you see, every star-shaped crystal in this palace, is bound to me. And you, have walked into the heart of it." Hearing her full title made Arun's chest tighten. He had heard rumors from the crew about alien rulers, but none of them had spoken of a queen with a palace made of living crystal. He realized how dangerous the situation truly was. Arun bowed his head slightly, trying to show respect. "Your Majesty Serena, please forgive me. I truly did not mean to intrude." To his surprise, she laughed softly. The sound was like bells ringing through water. "Forgiveness is not so easily given, human. But punishment is not my way. I am more interested in understanding why fate placed you here." Her words left Arun speechless. Fate. He had never believed in such things. He was an engineer, a man of wires, bolts, and circuits. His life was full of tools and repairs, not destiny. "I don't understand," Arun admitted. "Good," Serena said, rising to her feet again. "That makes two of us." She moved to the far wall, where glowing veins of blue light formed patterns. With a wave of her hand, the patterns shifted, opening a door Arun had not seen before. Beyond it was a long hall glowing with crystal light. "You will not leave yet," Serena declared. "You have entered my most private chamber, and you have done so without harm. The palace accepts you, and so, for now, do I. Until I know why, you will remain under my watch." Arun's stomach dropped. "Remain? You mean, stay here?" The queen's eyes softened, though her tone stayed firm. "Yes. You are no prisoner, but neither are you free. You will walk with me. And perhaps, human, you will see things no other of your kind has ever seen." Arun's breath caught in his throat. He wanted to protest, to say he needed to return to his ship, but something in her gaze held him silent. There was power in her eyes, but also a strange spark of interest, as though she had found a piece of a puzzle she had been searching for. He nodded slowly. "I understand." The queen turned away, her silver robes trailing light. "Good. Then follow me, Arun. Let us see what truth lies hidden in your mistake." With no other choice, Arun stepped after her into the glowing hall, his heart heavy with fear and curiosity. For the first time, he realized that this accident might change his life forever. Arun followed Queen Serena through the glowing hall. Each step echoed softly, and the walls themselves seemed alive. The veins of blue light pulsed gently, as if the palace was breathing. Arun's eyes moved everywhere, trying to take in the strange beauty. He had walked through many alien stations in his life, but none of them looked like this. This place was not made of metal and machines. It felt alive. The queen moved gracefully ahead of him, her silver robe trailing like liquid light. She walked with calm confidence, never glancing back, as if she already knew he would follow. Arun's heart pounded. He felt small beside her, yet also strangely chosen. Finally, the hall opened into another chamber. This one was larger, like a dome, and filled with floating orbs. Each orb glowed with a soft inner light. Some showed colors, others moved with shapes like memories trapped inside glass. Arun stopped in wonder. "What are these?" he whispered. Serena turned toward him, her eyes reflecting the glow. "They are memories," she said. "Each orb holds a piece of my people's past. Wars, victories, promises, mistakes, all kept here. Arun stepped closer to one orb. It shimmered, and suddenly he saw moving pictures inside it. A great battle filled his vision, giant ships firing beams of light across space, explosions blooming like stars. He gasped and stepped back. It showed me something, he said. Yes, Serena answered. The orbs respond when someone touches their surface. They reveal what they wish, not always what you expect. Arun stared at the glowing orbs, feeling a chill. He had never seen such advanced technology. This was not simply storage of images. The orbs seemed alive, choosing what to reveal. The queen studied him closely. Does it frighten you, human? Arun swallowed. It surprises me. It feels like magic. Her lips curved slightly. To those without understanding, all science feels like magic. She lifted her hand, and one orb drifted toward her. She touched it lightly, and the orb showed a new vision, a younger version of Serena standing before a crowd of alien beings. They raised their hands to her, chanting. The image glowed with triumph. This was the day I became queen, she said softly. The day my people gave me the weight of their trust. Arun looked at her. For the first time, he noticed a shadow in her eyes. Her voice was calm, but there was a heaviness behind it. Your people must admire you greatly, Arun said carefully. Yes, Serena replied, but admiration is a chain. They see me as a symbol, not as a person. A queen must always be strong, always wise, always flawless. There is no room for weakness. She let go of the orb, and it drifted away. But weakness still exists. Rebellion grows in shadows. My throne is not as secure as it looks. Arun frowned. Rebellion? Against you? The queen nodded slowly. Yes. There are those who believe I am too gentle, that I trust too much in peace and not enough in power. They whisper in secret, waiting for the day they can strike. Her silver eyes turned on him, sharp and thoughtful. Do you see, human? Even in a palace of crystal, cracks begin to form. Arun lowered his gaze. He had never thought about what it meant to rule. On his ship, even the captain complained about responsibility. But a queen, her burden was far greater. He hesitated, then asked softly, do you have no one you can trust? The question seemed to touch her. For a moment, her gaze softened. Few, she admitted. Trust is a rare jewel among rulers. Friends can turn to traitors. Guards can be bought with promises. Even family can hunger for the throne. When you wear a crown, you must stand alone. Arun felt a sting of sadness for her. He had crew members who laughed with him, shared meals, and helped during hard days. To imagine life without trust seemed unbearable. But Serena did not look broken. She stood tall, proud, yet lonely. Suddenly, one of the orbs floated down near Arun. Its glow wrapped around him, and without warning, it revealed another memory. This time, Arun saw a secret council of aliens in dark robes. Their faces were hidden, but their voices were sharp, full of anger. They spoke of overthrowing Serena, of seizing the palace. Arun's chest tightened. The image vanished, leaving him shaken. He looked at the queen. I saw something. A council. They were speaking against you. Serena's expression did not change. Yes. The orbs sometimes reveal what lies hidden in the present, not only the past. You have seen a glimpse of truth. Then, it's real. Arun asked. It is real, she confirmed calmly. My enemies are closer than most realize. Arun stared at her, confused. But why tell me this? I'm only a human engineer. I can't change what's happening in your world. Serena stepped closer, her eyes locking on his. Perhaps. Or perhaps your presence is not an accident, as you claim. The palace accepts you. The orbs speak to you. You may be more important than you know. Her words struck him like a bolt. Arun wanted to protest again, to say he was just an ordinary man, not a chosen one. But something in her voice carried weight, as if destiny itself was shaping his path. He looked at the orbs, at the glowing walls, at the queen who carried the burden of a people. For the first time, he felt that his mistake might not be so simple after all. And deep inside, fear mixed with curiosity. If the palace accepted him, what else would it reveal? Arun could not stop thinking about what the orb had shown him. The image of hooded figures whispering rebellion stayed in his mind like a shadow. He was only a visitor, an outsider who came here by accident, yet somehow he had seen what others could not. Queen Serena led him deeper into the palace. The halls glowed softly, the light shifting with every step. Arun began to notice something unusual. The palace seemed to react to his presence. When he walked near a wall, the glowing veins pulsed brighter. When his hand brushed the crystal surface, the patterns shimmered faintly, as though greeting him. The queen noticed too. She glanced at him several times, her eyes sharp but thoughtful. Finally, she spoke. This palace accepts you in ways it has never accepted anyone outside my bloodline. That troubles me, but it also interests me. Arun shook his head. I don't understand. I'm not special. I'm just an engineer. Serena stopped walking and faced him. You say you are not special. Yet the palace disagrees. Tell me, Arun, how do humans view destiny? Arun blinked, caught off guard. Destiny? Most of us don't think about it. We believe life is shaped by choices, by work, by what we build. Not by fate. The queen tilted her head. Strange. My people see destiny as a thread woven before birth. No matter what we do, the thread pulls us toward its end. And yet, here you stand, a human who should not be here, accepted by a palace that rejects intruders. Perhaps your kind's belief in choice is not wrong after all. Her words lingered in his mind as they entered another chamber. This one was smaller, round, with walls covered in glowing symbols. At the center stood a table made of crystal, and above it floated several orbs. These orbs were different. They showed not history, but maps of the galaxy, with lines connecting stars like a great web. Serena placed her hand above the table, and the orbs aligned themselves. This is my burden, she said quietly. To keep balance between the stars, to prevent war from burning all that we have built. Every ruler before me faced the same task. But now, rebellion threatens to shatter it. Arun studied the glowing maps. Do they want war? Yes, she replied. They believe strength comes from conquest. They see peace as weakness. They whisper that I am unfit to rule. Arun frowned. But war destroys. On Earth, we learned that many times. Peace is harder, but it keeps people alive. Serena's gaze softened. You speak wisdom beyond your station, human. Perhaps that is why the palace listens to you. Arun hesitated, then asked, why don't you fight them directly? Show them your power. The queen walked slowly around the table, her robe trailing silver light. Because power can silence for a moment, but it cannot erase doubt. If I strike too hard, I will become the very tyrant they claim I am. If I strike too soft, they will see me as weak. I walk a line thinner than crystal. Arun thought about her words. He realized her life was like a constant repair job, holding things together, balancing parts that wanted to break apart. In that moment, he felt a strange bond with her. She was a queen of stars, yet in her burden, she was not so different from him. He gathered courage. Maybe I can help. I don't know how, but maybe there's something I can do. Serena studied him closely, her silver eyes reflecting the map of stars. You offer help so easily, though you owe me nothing. Why? Arun paused. Because I know what it's like when no one helps. On my ship, sometimes things break, and no one notices until it's too late. If I don't step forward, everything falls apart. Maybe your palace is the same. For the first time, Serena's expression softened into something almost human. A hint of warmth touched her voice. You compare a queen's throne to a broken ship engine. And yet, perhaps you are not wrong. A small silence passed between them, filled with unspoken understanding. Then, suddenly, the palace trembled. The glowing veins on the walls flickered. Arun grabbed the table for balance. What was that? Serena's eyes hardened. A disturbance. The palace feels danger. The chamber doors opened, and a guard rushed in, bowing low. His crystal armor gleamed as he spoke quickly. Your Majesty, forgive the intrusion. There has been a breach. Unknown forces attempted to enter the lower halls. Serena's expression turned sharp. Rebels. The guard nodded. We stopped them for now, but they will try again. Arun felt his chest tighten. The danger was no longer whispers in the shadows, it was real and near. Serena dismissed the guard and turned to Arun. Now you see, human. My enemies grow bold. They may strike sooner than I wished. Arun's hands trembled, but he steadied his voice. Then let me help. I'm no warrior, but I can fix systems, find weaknesses, maybe even protect your palace in ways your people don't expect. For a long moment, Serena looked at him in silence. Then she gave a small nod. Very well. I will trust you, for now. Perhaps destiny placed you here for this reason. Arun felt a chill. He had wanted to return to his ship, to forget this mistake. But now, standing in the heart of an alien palace, facing a queen who carried the weight of a galaxy, he realized his path was no longer his own. The palace had accepted him. The queen had trusted him. And the rebellion was rising. Whatever happened next, Arun's life would never be the same. The palace was no longer calm. Arun could feel it in the air. The glowing veins on the walls pulsed faster, as if the living structure was nervous. The soft hum that once felt peaceful now carried a low, uneasy vibration. The palace itself seemed to sense danger. Queen Serena walked quickly through the corridors, her robe flowing like silver light. Arun followed close behind, trying to keep up. Guards in crystal armor rushed past them, their weapons glowing faintly. The quiet halls he had first seen now echoed with footsteps and sharp orders. They are moving faster than expected, Serena said, her voice calm but firm. The rebels no longer hide. They test my defenses, waiting for the moment to strike. Arun glanced around nervously. But why now? Why when I'm here? The queen gave him a sideways look. Perhaps your arrival pushed them forward. Or perhaps fate has placed you here for this very reason. Her words made his stomach twist. He was just an engineer. He had never fought a battle in his life. The thought of being caught in a war inside this glowing palace filled him with fear. But fear or not, he could not turn back. They entered a large chamber where several alien nobles waited. Their tall, shimmering forms bowed to the queen, but their eyes were sharp, their voices tense. Your Majesty, one said, the rebels grow bold because of this human. His presence is an insult. He should be punished or removed. Another added, what if he is a spy? He may already be feeding them information. Arun froze. His heart pounded as every eye turned toward him. He wanted to shout that he was innocent, that this was all a mistake, but his throat tightened. Serena raised her hand, silencing them. Enough. This human did not come here by choice. The palace itself accepts him. That is proof enough. The nobles exchanged uneasy glances, but none dared to argue with their queen. Still, Arun could feel their distrust. To them, he was not a guest. He was a danger. When the meeting ended, Serena led him to a quieter hall. Arun finally spoke, his voice low. They don't trust me. They want me gone. Yes, Serena admitted. They fear what they do not understand. And you, human, are something they cannot explain. Arun let out a shaky breath. Maybe I should leave. If I stay, I'll only make things worse. But Serena stopped walking and turned to face him. Her silver eyes glowed softly. No. If you leave now, the rebels will claim victory. They will say I cannot even protect one outsider in my palace. They will use it as proof that I am weak. Her words struck him. His leaving would not solve anything. It would only give her enemies more power. Arun sighed. Then what can I do? I'm not a fighter. The queen studied him for a long moment. Then she said, you are an engineer, are you not? You fix what is broken. You find solutions where others see failure. That is what I need. Her trust filled him with a strange strength. He nodded slowly. Then tell me what needs fixing. Before Serena could answer, the palace shook again. This time it was stronger. The walls flickered, and a deep rumble echoed through the halls. A guard rushed in. Your Majesty. The rebels have breached the outer gate. Arun's chest tightened. It was happening. Serena's expression hardened. Prepare the defenses. Seal the inner halls. Do not let them reach the throne chamber. The guard bowed and ran. Arun turned to her quickly. Your Majesty, where is your weakest point? Every system has one. If I can find it, maybe I can stop them from breaking through. Serena hesitated, then nodded. She led him to a control chamber deep within the palace. Crystals lined the walls, glowing brighter as they approached. At the center stood a large console, alive with flowing lights. This controls the shield barriers, she explained. But it has grown unstable. The rebels may try to overload it. If they succeed, the palace will be exposed. Arun rushed to the console. His hands trembled at first, but once he touched the glowing surface, instinct took over. It was not like human machines, yet somehow he understood parts of it. The palace seemed to guide him, showing him what each pattern meant. He muttered to himself as he worked. Energy flow here, too much pressure here, if I redirect the current. Serena watched silently, her eyes sharp. For the first time, Arun felt useful. He was not a warrior, but this was his battlefield. Minutes passed. The palace shook again, louder this time. He heard distant sounds, clashes, shouts, the hum of weapons. The rebels were fighting their way closer. Finally, Arun pressed his palm to the console. The glowing veins pulsed strongly, and the hum of the shields grew louder, steadier. I've reinforced the barriers, he said, breathing hard. They won't break through easily now. The queen's gaze softened. You have done well, Arun. Already you prove yourself more valuable than my doubting nobles. Arun managed a small smile, though fear still burned in his chest. It's only a delay. They'll keep trying. What happens if they reach here? Serena lifted her chin, her silver eyes glowing bright. Then we fight. And if fate wills it, we endure. Arun swallowed hard. He had never imagined being part of something like this. A human engineer, standing beside an alien queen, preparing to face a rebellion in a living palace. But whether by mistake or by destiny, he was here. And he would not run. The palace shook again, harder than before. Dust drifted from the glowing ceilings, and the living walls pulsed with pain. It was as if the palace itself cried out under the force of the attack. Arun stood beside the glowing console, his hands still tingling from the work he had done to strengthen the shields. He could hear distant crashes echoing closer, like drums of war. Serena, tall and calm, stood with her silver robe flowing. Yet even she could not hide the weight in her eyes. "They are inside the second gate," she said, her voice steady. "The last barrier stands between them and us." Arun swallowed hard. "And if they pass it?" Her silver eyes shone like fire. "Then they face me." Before Arun could answer, a guard entered, armor cracked and glowing faintly. "Your Majesty, the rebels, they bring heavy machines." The outer guards fall back. "We cannot hold them for long." Serena nodded, her face unreadable. "Then we prepare for them here." Arun felt his chest tighten. He was no soldier. He had no weapon. Yet as he looked around, he noticed the palace glowing brighter when his hands brushed the console, almost as if it trusted him. Maybe he was not as helpless as he thought. The queen turned to him. "You are not of war, human. But you are of machines. Can you help me one more time?" Arun nodded quickly. "Tell me what you need." She pointed to the glowing console. "If the rebels push their machines against our barrier, they will overload it. You must balance the flow each time. If you fail, the shield will break." Arun's throat went dry. One mistake, and the palace would fall. But he forced himself to nod again. "I'll try." Moments later, the palace thundered with a boom so strong the floor trembled. Arun grabbed the console to steady himself. The lights of the barrier flickered red. "They've started," he shouted. His hands moved across the glowing surface, shifting the flow, easing the pressure where it built too high. The palace pulsed under his touch, guiding him faintly. He was sweating, but his mind focused. The queen stood tall near the entryway, her guards forming a shield around her. Suddenly the wall at the far end cracked, glowing sparks shooting out. A huge machine, black and jagged, pushed through with a scream of metal. Behind it, shadowy rebels poured in, their eyes glowing with hate. "Hold the line," Serena commanded. Her voice rang like thunder, and her guards charged. Energy weapons clashed, lighting the chamber with flashes of red and blue. Arun's heart pounded as he struggled to keep the barrier stable. Each strike from the enemy machine sent another wave of pressure into the system. His hands raced, shifting energy, fixing leaks, holding the wall together. One mistake, and they were finished. But then, the machine fired a glowing spear of energy. The barrier shuddered, sparks flying across the console. Arun cried out, his hands burning as he slammed the flow back into balance. The barrier held but just barely. "Arun." Serena's voice cut through the chaos. "Do not let it fall." "I'm trying," he shouted, sweat dripping down his face. Then he saw her move. The queen stepped forward, her silver eyes glowing like suns. She lifted her hand, and the living palace responded. The walls themselves stretched and formed crystal spears, launching at the rebels. They shattered against the enemy machine, slowing its advance. Arun stared in awe. She was not just a ruler. She was one with the palace. Together, they were a force. But the rebels were relentless. More poured in, their weapons blazing. The guards fought bravely, but one by one they fell back. Arun's console screamed with energy. The barrier was at its limit. "It won't hold much longer," he shouted. Serena's eyes blazed as she called out, "Then we strike first." She stepped into the battlefield, her robe flowing behind her, her hand glowing with light. The palace walls rose, forming towering shields of crystal to block enemy fire. Then, with a motion of her arm, the shields shattered into hundreds of shards, raining down upon the rebels like arrows of light. The rebels screamed, some falling, others pushing forward through the storm. Arun felt the barrier surge again, and he worked desperately, redirecting the pressure. His mind burned with focus. He had never felt so alive, so needed. Suddenly, he had an idea. Serena, if I reverse the flow, I can send the energy back at them. She turned her glowing eyes to him. Do it? Arun's fingers raced over the console. He rerouted the channels, forcing the built-up power to spin around. The console glowed brighter, the palace trembling as if unsure. For a moment, he thought it would break apart. Then, with a flash, the barrier exploded outward, not in destruction, but in force. A wave of energy blasted from the walls, striking the rebels and their machine. The machine cracked, sparks flying. Rebels were thrown to the ground, their weapons shattered. The chamber shook with silence for a moment. Then Serena lifted her hand again, and the palace sealed the broken wall with glowing crystal. The rebels trapped inside were quickly surrounded by her guards. Breathing heavily, Arun stepped back from the console. His arms ached, his body trembling. He had done it. He had actually done it. The queen turned to him, her silver eyes glowing softly now. You have saved my palace, human. Today, you stood not as outsider, but as ally. Arun's chest swelled with pride, even as his legs shook. I just did what I could. Serena gave a faint smile. And that is what makes you different. You do not seek power, yet you wield it well. The battle was not over. The rebels outside would regroup, and the war for the palace was far from done. But for now, they had won a victory. And for the first time since arriving, Arun did not feel like an intruder. He felt like he belonged. The palace was quiet for the first time in hours. The air still shimmered with energy from the battle, and the walls hummed softly, as if recovering from strain. Arun's hands were sore, his body trembling, but he could finally breathe. Serena walked beside him, her silver robe flowing like liquid light. The first wave is gone, she said quietly. But the rebellion is not defeated. Its leader still moves in the shadows. Arun nodded. We can't let them regroup. If they plan another attack, the palace could fall. The queen stopped at the entrance to the throne chamber. The crystal doors opened, revealing a small group of prisoners captured during the battle. Among them was one figure who did not struggle, who stood silently, watching them. Serena's silver eyes narrowed. You, she said softly. The figure bowed slightly. He was tall, armored in dark crystal, his face hidden beneath a helmet. Your Majesty, he said. You fought well. But the palace belongs to those who are strong enough to claim it. Arun frowned. He's the leader. Serena nodded slowly. Yes. He is clever, patient, and dangerous. His goal is to control this palace and the Dominion. He believes only fear can keep order. The rebel leader stepped forward, and with a swift motion, removed his helmet. Arun froze. His eyes widened. It was one of Serena's closest advisors. A face she had trusted for years. How? Arun whispered. Serena's lips tightened. Deception is a weapon used by those who crave power. He hid his ambition behind loyalty. But the palace knows the truth now. The rebel leader smiled, cold and proud. Do you think your palace and your little human friend can stop me? I have allies everywhere. They will follow me, not you. Arun took a step forward. I don't know about that. But we're not done yet. Serena placed a hand on his shoulder. He may be strong, but strength without heart is hollow. Power without purpose is empty. Arun, I will need your help to end this. Arun swallowed hard. What do you want me to do? The palace listens to you, she said. Your mind understands machines in a way others cannot. If you can take control of the inner systems, redirect the energy, we can trap him without destroying the palace. Arun's pulse quickened. So, I'll control the palace's energy, and stop him. Serena nodded. Yes. But you must choose carefully. One wrong move, and the palace could collapse. He glanced at the dark figure standing before them. The rebel leader's confidence was almost frightening. But Arun looked at the palace itself, the living walls that had guided him, the glowing crystals that had responded to his touch, and he felt strength. "All right," he said. "Show me the system." Serena led him to the central console once more. The crystal veins shivered with power. Arun placed his hands on the glowing surface, feeling the energy pulse through him. The palace seemed alive, breathing, waiting. "Focus on the flow," Serena instructed. "Listen to it. It will guide you." Arun closed his eyes, letting the rhythm of the palace move through him. He saw patterns, the lines of energy, the weak points the rebel leader might exploit. Slowly, carefully, he began redirecting the power, channeling it toward a central trap. The rebel leader raised his weapon, stepping forward. "Stop him," he shouted. But the palace moved faster. Crystal spears formed from the walls, blocking his path. Arun's hands guided energy in a circle, and a dome of light rose around the rebel, holding him in place. "You cannot escape," Arun whispered, not to the rebel, but to the palace itself. "We are one." The leader struggled, but the energy held firm. The walls pulsed brighter, sealing him completely. For the first time, the arrogance left his eyes, replaced with fear. Serena stepped forward, raising her hand. "The rebellion ends today," she said. The rebel leader bowed, defeated but alive. "So, it is over?" he asked quietly. "Yes," Serena replied. "But justice will be fair. No unnecessary cruelty. You will answer for your actions." Arun stepped back from the console, breathing heavily. "We did it." Serena's eyes softened as she looked at him. "You risked yourself to save my palace, human. You could have walked away, yet you stayed. Today, you proved that courage is not measured by size or strength, but by heart." Arun smiled faintly. "I just did what I had to do." "No," Serena said, "you did more than that. You showed me that even a stranger, from another world, can be a part of this palace. Today, humans and the Dominion share a bond that will last." Arun looked around. The palace glowed softly now, the living walls humming in harmony. It had accepted him completely, not just as a visitor, but as a guardian. He realized something then. This accident, the mistake that brought him here, was no accident at all. Perhaps fate, destiny, or something greater had guided him. The rebel threat was over, for now. The palace was safe, and the bond between human and alien had been forged in the fires of danger. Serena turned toward him one last time. "Arun, your journey is just beginning. The stars are vast, and our worlds are linked now. But today, you have earned your place in history." Arun nodded, feeling the weight of what had happened. He had come as a simple engineer. He had faced fear, danger, and uncertainty. And now, he stood beside a queen, having changed the course of her people. The palace glowed around them, alive and strong. Arun understood that he had found something extraordinary, not just adventure, but purpose. And for the first time, he felt that he truly belonged.